Hey, Skylar here from the Mint Changeyoucanwear, and today we're going to be making a ring out of a silver 64 Kennedy half dollar, and we're going to be lining it with some stabilized wood. Okay, let's get started. So why do we want to put wood inside of a ring anyway? Coin rings have a really particular fit. The rim of this coin is thicker than the middle of the coin that makes the other end of the ring. It's not even all the way through. And so with the wood in there, we're going to be able to make it even and have a true comfort fit in there. Let's take a look at what the inside of these actually looks like.
Why?
Hey, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. I was too busy blocking out the haters.
Now we can see the inside of the coin ring. This is our coin edge side. See how much thicker it is than this side here? And that's just because the rim of the coin's a little bit thicker. And then also we've been stretching this side so it thins it out. When we do a wood liner, it's going to be flush all the way through there, making a true comfort fit. All right, so now we understand the reason behind it. Let's go ahead and start making the ring. And we're going to be cutting our hole with Jason's auto punch, and we're going to be using the 1/2 inch punch for this particular ring. And we're adding our coin into it here and tightening the whole thing down. We're using a brass mallet to punch it out, that way we're not damaging the punch at all when we're doing that. Okay, all finished, ready to start deburring. And we're using our deburring tool for this. We're just 45 degreeing those angles in there. That way we're not going to split the coin when we start to fold it later on. Annealing these 64 Kennedys is really difficult. They tend to have issues. So we're just lightly annealing it and then letting it air cool instead of punching it. Now it's all cooled off, and we're going to be putting it in our 17-degree die using our steel universal folding cone, and then we'll start folding it. We'll get about halfway, and then once we get about there, we'll take it back out of the die and then sand that cut edge just to make sure we're not having any cracks forming. And unlike other half dollars, we're just going to sand it and then put it right back in the die and keep folding it. No need to re-anneal these 64 Kennedys. And we'll press it the rest of the way. All right, take it out, re-anneal it, and then start Swedish wrapping. So we're wrapping it about 25 times with some Teflon tape. Once we're done with that, we'll put it in our Swedish wrap dies and get a brass plunger and then put it in our 1-ton arbor press and start to press it down. All right, take it out of there, get rid of the Teflon tape, and then re-anneal it. And now what we're going to be doing is stretching it out about 2 times past our target size. All right, now we got that taper on it. We're going to start reducing it in these 17-degree dies, and that's going to get rid of that taper and get a nice slight curve to the outside. And we bring it down to our target size. This one's going to be a size 11, so we'll bring it down to our target size in the 17-degree. We're going to be using this 25-degree die to take it a size under our target size. And that's just going to give it a little bit more of an aggressive curve. And then once we have that done, we're going to turn it around, put it back in the 25-degree die, and make the other side of the coin match that same curve. All right, cool. We're all done with the shaping of this ring. What we're going to do now is we're going to start wrapping it in some electrical tape. And this is going to protect the outer detail of this ring while we have it in the jaws of the lathe. And once we get about 5 to 10 wraps of electrical tape on there, we're going to trim off the excess. And I tell you right now, if you don't do this step and the boring bar gets a hold of any excess material in there, it'll yank it out of the jaws and throw it right at your face. Don't ask me how I know that. Now we have it set in the jaws. We're going to start taking our boring bar and cutting out all that excess material in the ring, making it nice and even all the way through. All right, all finished cutting out the excess material in the ring. Now it's time to move to the wood. This is the block of wood that I'm going to be using. And here's some pieces that I've already cut off. I'm trying to decide which one I want to use. I think I'm going to go with this one. I want a little bit of that dark, a little bit of that light in the end product. So that is the piece of wood I'm going to end up using. I'm going to round this thing off so I can fit it in the jaws of the lathe. So I'm just going to try squeezing that around. Oh, there we go. Woo! It worked. All right, let's put it in the lathe. And we're going to be drilling a hole right in the center of this thing, just big enough to accept our boring bar. Okay, so we're taking our boring bar and cutting out enough material to allow us to put in our expanding ring mandrel. So we're about there now. Take it off and put it on the expanding ring mandrel. And I get these from Wildwood Designs, and their website is bangleguy.com. So I have noticed that I plug a lot of other people, like these guys from Wildwood Designs or Jason from Jason's Works, Jason's.works, if you want to look him up for a lot of the coin ring tools, but I always forget to add my own website in. So yeah, I sell rings, and obviously that's what I do, and my website is Changeyoucanwear.net. So if you guys were interested in looking at rings, check them out over there. All right, so we're just cutting away a little bit at a time in order to make darn sure it's going to barely fit onto that piece of wood. We want it to be hard to fit on there, so that way it gets a nice press fit when we go to glue it together. So now we have both parts sitting under our 1-ton arbor press, and we're going to be using thin CA glue to put these two things together. What we're going to do is just put a layer of glue on there. And there's a nice new invention called gloves. Really help things out quite a bit. Oh, that's okay. I like glue on my fingers. All right, so we're going to press this thing down together, and now it should be permanently joined. And now we have it back in the lathe, and we're going to cut all of the excess wood off of there. And now we're finally getting this thing all the way up to its target size, which is a size 11. All right, so we got it off the lathe now, looking about like that. So what I like to do now at this point is take it off the lathe and finish it off by hand with one of these guys, just a Dremel. That's starting to look pretty sharp. I went through all the different grits to get to 1200, and this is what we came up with. Now I'm going to throw this in some liver of sulfur and antique it. Okay, so we got our water heated up to just below boiling. We'll throw a couple drops of our liver of sulfur XL gel in there.
Put it reverse, Terry! Put it reverse! Oh, Lord! Lord!
All right, we'll just hit it up with some 4-0 steel wool. All right, now that we have the steel wool all done, we're going to put a CA finish on the inside of this band. We're gonna be taking some of the CA glue and applying it to the inside with a little piece of paper towel. We're gonna be putting a couple coats on there, so just let it dry in between, and then we'll polish the whole thing up. Okay, coat number 1 done. do that a couple more times. All right, so we got a couple coats in on this thing now, and it's looking really good. And now all we need to do to finish this ring up is just polish the outside with a jewelry cloth and we're set. All right guys, thanks for watching. And if you haven't yet, check out my website, changeyoucanwear.net. That's where you get to see all my rings that I have for sale. And be sure you like this video and make sure you subscribe to my channel. All right guys, till next time, thanks for watching.